Now, back to Ed Flash Ferens with America's Workforce.
And don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Twitter handle is at AWF Union Podcast. By the way, this next segment brought to you in part by the United Labor Agency, trying to connect people with employment, doing a pretty good job. You can find more at ulagency.org. Let's go to line number one. Welcome one of our regulars, my guy from New Jersey. That would be Pete Ielmini on behalf of the Heat and Frost Insulators, LMCT. That stands for Labor Management Cooperative Trust. Last week was National Apprenticeship Week. There were like 800 events happening in the country. And Pete wanted to pick up on that and talk about the Heat and Frost Insulators. Mr. Pete Ielmini, welcome back to the show. How are we doing today, brother?
Hey, how you doing today? And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Any big plans for this weekend, Pete?
Nothing special. Just a lot of dinners with our families, and it's a big football weekend. College weekend, a lot of college football and professional, and a couple pickup games, and a lot of eating, a lot of dinners, and a lot to be thankful for.
There you go. Family, friends, and football. That's what it's all about. All right.
That's right.
Let's talk about the mechanical insulation industry. You and I have had many, many discussions on this, and let's zero in on this because there's a lot of work out there, a lot of work, and more work's going to be coming because of this infrastructure bill. So we have to prepare pretty much the next generation here to get involved in this line of work because you're going to make some good money, great benefits, great pensions. I mean, I could go on and on and on. So talk to me about how someone becomes a highly trained mechanical insulator. Let's get into that. And maybe you should just refresh our listeners what the job entails. Pete, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Flash. And you're exactly correct. And without getting political on this segment, though, it is important to discuss that Congress passed the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, and the largest of its kind, and it's something that our country needs to be able to build and maintain and reconstruct our roads and our bridges, the buildings. There was so much infrastructure, building construction is going to be happening in the next 10, 20, 30 years. It's going to be incredible. And I thank the government for being able to pass such legislation. It's going to open up the opportunities. And with Apprenticeship Week being last week and bringing attention to it, I just cannot not talk about this. And the insulation world, the mechanical insulation, energy efficiency is going to play a big role in the next 50 years. It has been for the last several decades, and it's going to increase with all of this infrastructure, with all of this energy conservation that we're going to be undertaking and developing new sources of energy. The sky is the limit as far as what we can do with energy efficiency. Insulation, mechanical insulation, that's going to be right in the middle of all of this work that we're going to be undertaking. But we need to generate a workforce that's going to carry on. And the apprenticeship is the best way to be able to get involved in it. For those viewers that do not know what an apprenticeship program is, it's a training program of the skilled crafts. Skilled crafts meaning the building trades. There's 14 building crafts. The insulators are one of them. And an apprenticeship program is a balance between classroom instruction as well as in the field, hands-on, working with seasoned mechanics, journeymen, and be able to learn the craft. And as long as history's been written, that is and has been and will be the best way to learn a physical craft is by doing it, by working with professionals and seeing how it is done. And the classroom are the things that you learn that's not, you don't have the time or the facilities to be able to teach in the field and learn. There's a lot of math, a lot of theory, blueprint reading, instructional training, and the balance between the classroom and the field experience is immense. And to be able to get into the union that offers benefits as well as good pay is something you're not going to find elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to talk about good pay, and definitely a good salary is able to put food on the table and a roof over your head and be able to buy the things that you need to be in the middle class. And especially younger people, they look at salaries as they should as far as what you're looking for in a career. But as we all get older, we also realize and appreciate the things that are you don't see in the salary, and that's your benefits. That's your health care coverage, which is probably one of the biggest single most important thing in a career is how do you afford health care coverage for yourself and also for your family or your potential family. And then you also have retirement plans. Nobody thinks about retiring when they are a young man or a young woman. But one of the most advantageous things to be involved in the union from day one that you work in the union, the union is preparing you for retirement. And you put a little bit away each and every day, each and every hour that you work. And you kind of like forget about it. But when you start hitting the your late 50s or even your mid 50s, you start looking about what's going to be my next step. Right. Where am I going to be when I'm 60? Where am I going to be when I'm 65? And because of the great programs that our unions have and have been fought for over 100 years, there's going to be a point in somebody's career where you'll make just as much money and maintain your benefits because of the contributions that you made when you retire. You're going to be looking at yourself, looking at the numbers, saying, you know what, hey, I can stay home, spend time with my family, and make as much money as if I was working.
Isn't that great?
But it does take many years to be able to get to that point.
Sure. Pete, if you don't mind, let's get into the mechanics of the apprenticeship program. And from what you've been describing to me, it sounds like it's like going to college pretty much. I know the technology has changed. You referenced math skills. Can you get into that and maybe give us some clarity? I know there's a lot of people listening. We got a national audience here. They're probably wondering, boy, this sounds pretty intricate for me. And obviously, when it comes to insulation and you talk about energy efficiency, you're going to save the planet. Can we get into that, Pete?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's my wheelhouse. I love to be able to talk about apprenticeship programs versus college. And they're both the same animal. They're both considered post-secondary education with good reason, because you need a high school diploma to be able to get into an apprenticeship program. But both offer to be able to take your basic skills that you received in high school and grammar school and be able to add on to that. Some of the big differences are the apprenticeship program is a lot more focused to a particular specialized craft or function or job description. In the mechanical insulation world, it's a 4-year program. Could be 5 years, similar to college. Even 30 years ago, it was strictly 4 years of apprenticeship and training, but it, for many reasons, it has expanded to get a better education, sometimes in 5 years. And you know what? It's very parallel to the way college is. 30 years ago, it was 4 years. Now it's Now it's 5 or 6 years to be able to get that same bachelorette degree. Those are very similar. The apprenticeship program is college credit worthy. There are college credits that are available going through the apprenticeship program. I know the mechanical insulators, I went through that vetting process about 20 years ago. I felt the need for someone to go to an apprenticeship program to receive college credit. Maybe they wanted to take those college credits and go further in a formal education aspect. And I also received, got our apprenticeship programs accredited just for the acknowledgement of it. You're right, Flash. People think, and parents seem to think, and especially our culture seems to think, you want to be successful, you have to go to college, and that is the path. And alternatives to college are not expanded that much and that well. I always took exception to that when I went into high schools and I talked about the advantages of going to an apprenticeship program. I was kind of always pushed aside because of the colleges were given the path to success. And that motivated me to be able to get our apprenticeship programs accredited with college. And once I did, then I was able to say, I'm hanging with the colleges. Yes, I get college credit as well. You can come to my apprenticeship program and you can receive 45 credits toward a bachelorette degree if you wanted to pursue that with another college. And that opened up a lot of discussions and raised a lot of eyebrows. And I was able to raise some eyebrows with parents because they always thought, well, you get into the trades, you're a ditch digger and you're not going to, it doesn't really have that lore, but actually it does. And if college credit is something someone is looking to get involved in or want to expand, well, you can do that in the apprenticeship program. And it has raised a lot of opinions. And usually I love to talk to young people when they're getting indoctrinated about going to college. And by no means do I ever talk anybody out of going to college. I don't talk anybody out of anything. I just want to make sure you understand your opportunities and what is available. And one stat I love to be able to tell people, because it's a fact, that 40% of people drop out of college in the first year. And there's a host of reasons why. I just want you to realize that, because if you're one of those 40%, what are you going to do? What's going to be your next step? The entire time you've been in school, in the public school system, you've been drilled into your head, in order for you to be successful, you got to go to college. And you got to find out that, maybe college doesn't work. Doesn't mean you're not intelligent. Doesn't mean you're not a hard worker. Doesn't mean you have good values. It just means that sitting in the classroom just didn't accelerate the next level for you. For some people it is, some people it isn't. And these are the people that we want to be able to get into our apprenticeship program. And if you want to work hard, and I'll be honest with you, it's construction, so you're going to get your hands dirty. It's a physical craft. To me, that's very that always welcomed my personality and what I like to be able to do. Sitting behind a desk all day long just was never my forte. But being out in the field, getting my hands dirty, sometimes I got to deal with the weather. And if you live in a cold part of this country, this is the time of the year it gets a little bit uncomfortable. But you know what? You learn how to dress and you learn how to deal with the cold, and it's not as bad as you think it is. But it's a worthwhile venture to be able to have. And one big thing, and I know it's not always about money. Money buys everything. Doesn't buy love, but it does buy everything else. You can go to a 4-year college, and you can pay anywhere from the cost of that college can be anywhere from $50 to $100 to $300,000. And either somebody paid it for you, or you got a scholarship, or you got to pay for it for yourself. So when you graduate high school, you're 18 years old, you go to a 4-year college, now you're 22. Now you're going to start your career, and the future is bright, but you're saddled with a bill of, say, $200,000. And for many people, they spend the rest of their career paying it off. Some people are fortunate, they don't have to, but some people do. And there's a stark difference between that of an apprenticeship. What is the cost of getting into an apprenticeship program? Probably very little. Maybe $50, $100, depending upon the application process. But the beautiful thing about an apprenticeship program is that someone's paying you a salary, a good salary, usually a union salary, to be able to learn. And it doesn't cost anything to go to the classroom, doesn't come out of your pocket, it doesn't cost anything. You're getting paid. And I'll make the comparison again that if you come out of high school and you go into the trades and you're 22 years old and the typical apprenticeship program is 4 years, now you're making your salary now, could be anywhere depending upon the part of the country that you're in. Your salary could be $80,000, could be $100,000, could be $120,000 with full benefits and a pension, and you're 22 years old. You put those numbers, compare that to someone coming out of college, it's an incredible difference. And for those people that understand that and take advantage of what an apprenticeship program can offer, it works out well for them. It really does. And I am living proof. I've been in both worlds. When I graduated when I graduated high school, I too was indoctrinated with the brainwashing. To be successful, you have to go to college. And I did go to college. I went to college for engineering. And when I got out of college, I had the opportunity to get involved in my union, Mechanical Insulators, Local 32, Newark, New Jersey. And it's something I never regretted, and I never looked back. And definitely my college education has helped me in other aspects. But as far as the best career I can ever have, it all relates back to my option to go into an apprenticeship program and be a union member of the Mechanical Insulators.
Life-changing, no doubt about it. You want to get some more information on mechanical insulation, just go to the national website, insulators.org, insulators.org. We're being joined by Pete Ielmini, one of our monthly featured guests on the show. He comes to us from the Heat and Frost Insulators LMCT, Mechanical Insulators LMCT.com is their website. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Mike Dolan will be joining us later in the show, and he's going to be talking on behalf of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Back in a few minutes.
This is America's Workforce. More shows available at awfradio.com. Now, back to America's Workforce. Here's Ed Flash Ferens.
Hey, don't forget we're available on 6 platforms now. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, and Stitcher. And when you get an opportunity, just sign up. Receive our shows on a regular basis. Give us a rating. We always like those 5-star ratings. Let's go back to our live line. Wrap up things with Pete Ielmini on behalf of the Heat and Frost Insulators, longtime sponsors of America's Workforce. Mechanical Insulators, LMCT.com. That's one website. And then insulators.org. We're talking about getting a career as a heat and frost insulators, and especially now with this infrastructure bill and perhaps the passage of the Build Back Better bill. There's going to be huge opportunities for mechanical insulation. You can get all the details on that Insulators website. Pete, I got one question for you. What's the biggest challenge? The biggest challenge you see in this industry and moving forward? I'm real curious on your answer on this. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question, because that's one thing I deal with every single day. The biggest challenge that we have in the mechanical insulation industry is for people to realize the importance of what we do. realize and understand the value of of insulation, to value and appreciate the engineered science of mechanical insulation. It's not known by most people. It is, whether we were talking about educators, we were talking about young adults trying to choose a career path, which is very true. I'm also talking about the business, the engineering, architectural world, government, legislation. There's government grants to build new type of energy facilities, but there's very few government opportunities available, government grants available to install mechanical insulation, which hands down is going to save energy. It's going to save the cost. It's going to reduce the carbon emission into the atmosphere. The problem is we have to educate people to be able to understand that and value that. The technology of mechanical insulation is improving, but we have to have it be applied. One of the quick examples I can make, whether it be new construction or even whether it's maintenance, you walk into a room, you hit a light switch, the lights don't go on. You don't have to be an electrician to realize, hey, you got an electrical problem here. Either there's a short, there's a wire loose, the bulb was burnt out. It could be something simple, it could be complex. But if the lights don't go on, you got an electrical problem. You need someone with an electrical background to be able to address it and fix it. If your pipe leaks, you can actually see water dripping from a pipe, or you turn the faucet on and water doesn't come out, or it doesn't get hot. Again, you don't have to be a plumber to realize you got a plumbing issue. You have to get someone with plumbing experience or a plumber to get it fixed. Your roof leaks. You see water coming into your home or your building. Again, and now you're going to need a roofer, sheet metal workers, on and on it goes. These are the types of crafts that are easily recognized, and you see it every day in everybody's life. Mechanical insulation kind of like lurks in the shadows a little bit. As long as the air conditioning is working, as long as the heat is working, you think everything is fine. You may not be realizing, though, is that air conditioning unit or that boiler or that furnace may be working twice as long and harder as it should be. And it's not efficient, but nobody realizes that. In the meantime, you're wasting a lot of money unnecessarily because the system is probably not insulated correctly. A national study was done with a government grant, and the results were that all U.S. buildings, on the average, is missing anywhere from 10 to 30% of mechanical insulation. So that means we're wasting more energy than we should be. It's costing with the price of fuel. To me, the energy crisis has been with us for 30 years. Of course, with the local headlines now, with cost of everything going up, the cost of fuel is going up. But we're wasting so much by not treating our energy sources correctly by making them energy efficient. So we're wasting energy by not having things insulated properly. And here's the environmental and the climate jobs opportunity and the climate and global warming issues that a lot of people want to talk about, including now politicians. The more that furnace is working, the harder it's working, or that boiler, or that air conditioner, or the generation of electricity, it is emitting harmful greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere. If we can reduce the use of those, if we can reduce the amount of the energy that's being used, that's going to reduce the amount of carbon release into our atmosphere, which has got to be talked about more. No, we don't have to spend billions and billions of dollars just building windmills and solar panels. I know that's part of our structure moving forward in the future to increase our grid system, and those are carbon emissions, and I realize that's part of our future, but we could be doing a lot right now to reduce the amount of carbon emissions by having those mechanical systems work less. And the good way of making them work less is being able to have them work efficiently. And insulation is a big part of that. That's the biggest thing. The biggest challenge that we have in this industry is getting people to realize that and understand that. It's going to reduce carbon emissions, it's going to save energy, it's going to save fuel, and it's going to create jobs. And I hate to use the term, it's a win-win for everybody, but that's overused. But the truth of the matter is, it is true. We're going to be able to generate a workforce to be able to help the climate, help the environment, and help the energy sources by using mechanical insulation to insulate what should already be insulated.
Save energy, help the environment, and create jobs. It doesn't get any better than that when you think about it. Great stuff there, Pete. Great stuff there. Well, let's drive everybody to the website, and there's two of them, insulators.org, insulators.org, and there's a lot of information posted there on the apprenticeship program to become a heat and frost insulators. And for Pete Ielmini, it's Mechanical Insulators LMCT.com. Okay, my brother, you take care. Have a great Thanksgiving and a safe one, and we'll be talking in December, okay?
You as well, my friend. Thank you.